Yo, what's going on, everybody? I'm back again just to show this little video. I can't update the roster from the home screen, so as you see, I am live with Madden 20, and this is what it looks like. As you see, Sean McDermott, the Bills are 5-0, yada yada yada. But I'm gonna show you where where teams are, where the players are that I put on different teams. Now, as you see, Jake Fromm is on here. Some of the rookies that are going to go into the draft this year are going to be on this game from the roster that I found in the player movements. So with that being said, I brought Jake Fromm in to be Josh Allen's backup. Now, if you see Josh Allen at a 90 overall, that's actually not a real average. It's basically his overall me bumping up at the age of 23. So with that being said, the next guy that we took, is Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch is back for hopefully the 3 years that I signed him during the free agency period before I started the franchise series. The next thing I'm going to show you is wide receivers. Stephon Diggs, of course, that's a true one. Justin Jefferson, this is the player that the Bills were actually looking at during the combine before they made that trade to get Stephon Diggs. So with that being said, I brought Justin Jefferson and bumped him up a little bit to get him going. With that being said, Delanie Walker is also a free agent this year. So I signed Delanie Walker to give Josh Allen some help in the deep end department, but also in the blocking department. The line looks pretty good. Jason Peters is on the team. We have Richie Incognito back. Quentin Spain is also there. Travis Frederick is there. John Felicio is also there. Right guard is Cody Ford. I'm kind of thinking about moving Cody Ford as the starter. But right now we're gonna let it go as the veterans. And at right tackle it's Tiny Nasaki, and then at end we had Jadeveon Clowney. Now the reason why I brought Jadeveon Clowney in is because we need a pass rusher that is decently young. We all remember that highlight that he did when he was in South Carolina in the Outback Bowl against Michigan. So with that being said, that's the reason why I brought Jadeveon Clowney in. At right end, Jerry Hughes is back as usual. D-tackle, it's all the same. At linebacker, it's Matt Milano. Nothing has changed at that linebacker position except Lorenzo Alexander. Lorenzo Alexander, as you guys all know as Bills fans, Lorenzo Alexander decided to call it quits last year. So A.J. Klein takes his place. As far as I know, A.J. Klein will be the guy that will take his place. At corner, it's myself. Don't worry about that. I always do that. But you got Tre'Davious White. Ronald Darby is back as a Buffalo Bill, and Josh Norman is there from before the free agency even started. At safety, it's Micah Hyde still, and at strong safety, it's Jordan Poyer. And we brought Eric Berry in to be the backup for Jordan Poyer, so I know that at least we're gonna have a good chance of not losing any downfield position, even though Eric Berry is starting to become into his prime. But with that being said, that's what this looks like for our side of the view. Now, if I go to the Bengals, the next thing that the Bengals have is Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is in free agency with this roster update. Like I said, I'm not going to say it a million times. I'm not going to say it no more than one more time. In this updated roster that I found from the community files, some of the players that are going into the draft this year are in that free agency market. So I threw Joe Burrow into with the Bengals because everybody is believing that's where Joe Burrow is going to go in the first pick of this year's draft. Now that being said, I'm not quite sure. Tua is on the board. They're saying that Tua could be the next guy for the Cincinnati Bengals, but I'm not quite sure. I'm going with Burrow instead of Tua. With that being said, the Broncos, Andrew Luck is on here for some reason. I don't know why. Unless Madden just threw a glitch and put him on there. As far as I know, Antonio Brown is still on here, and I put Antonio Brown on a team that you guys might know very, very well as soon as I get to that. But at running back for the Broncos, as you see, Philip Lindsay and Royce Freeman are still there. Melvin Gordon III is backing up Philip Lindsay, which is kind of a good choice for him. With that being said, wide receivers, Everything is still the same besides Denzel Mims, rookie coming out of Baylor for the Broncos. That might help the Broncos if that actually realistically happened. But the quarterback situation, they're aiming at Drew Lock to be the day one starter next year in the 2020 NFL season, if the season even starts. With that being said, the Browns. Now, you guys are probably going to get a good laugh out of this, but I did this anyways. Baker Mayfield, in my power rankings, Baker Mayfield is probably sixth at the age of 24. These players that are in their 20s, I would have to say Patrick Mahomes is number one, and then Lamar Jackson. Deshaun Watson is three in my book, then Josh Allen, and then Sam Darnold, and then it goes Baker Mayfield, because Baker Mayfield can't get his head out of his ass. So with that being said, I brought Cam Newton in to hopefully lead that team and let Baker learn under him. They might get along fakely in this game. It would be kind of funny to see actually Cam Newton go to the Cleveland Browns, but it would be kind of funny if that actually really did happen. But anyways, Cam Newton's the Cleveland Brown. With that being said, nothing has really changed for the Cleveland Browns. I'm not really going to go through and deal with all this. Besides Demaryius Thomas. Demaryius Thomas is now a Cleveland Brown, but I'm not quite sure if that happened last year or this year. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. As we know, Tom Brady signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So with that being said, they have Antonio Brown and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin to be there for his wideouts. The only thing I believe he is missing is a running back, and that one at this game, LaShawn McCoy is his running back. So with that being said, that's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now the Cardinals I think are going to be good with Kyler Murray, but with that being said, they got a good trio. But in this one, with this updated roster, Larry Fitzgerald is gone. So with that being said, in real life, Larry Fitzgerald is still there. Don't worry, Cardinals fans. You know that Larry Fitzgerald's still there for another year. But on Madden 20 with this roster that I found, DeAndre Hopkins is the starter, and then Christian Kirk. That could be a good combo with those two wide receivers. With that being said, let's move on to the Chargers. Now, as I'm going to say again, the rookies that are coming into the draft this year are on the free agency market. Are on the free agency market for the teams that need players. Kind of like I put Jake Fromm with the Bills. With that being said, Justin Herbert is the starter for the San Diego Chargers. With that being said, San Diego, I'm at LA. The Los Angeles Chargers are kind of needs a little help on the offensive side of things. I'm not quite sure about their defensive side of things. The Chiefs, they don't really need to worry about anything. They have everything all set. As you know, the Chiefs are probably going to be right back in the postseason this year anyways, as long as Patrick Mahomes and all those guys stay healthy. The Colts. On to the Colts. Philip Rivers is going to be the day one starter for the Colts no matter what the deal is. So with that being said, that 1 year deal for Philip Rivers, that could be a really good, interesting thing for them, because I could kind of see Philip Rivers bringing the emotion and the intensity into the Colts locker room and possibly getting them into a wild card spot. With that being said, the Colts don't really need any help either, but they might need a lot of help because they're going to have to rely on T.Y. Hilton a lot. So with that being said, and with Eric Ebron no longer being a Colt and being a Steeler, that is going to hurt them in a big way. So with that being said, the Cowboys, Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott's still there. Fullback, I really don't care. But wide receiver, they got Amari Cooper. I did bring Dez Bryant back because there was talk that Jerry Jones was going to bring Dez Bryant back, but he's not quite sure about that deal. So I brought Dez Bryant back as just the fake Cowboys owner for that 3 years to see how he does. As you see, there's that little purple little box. While you're seeing this live, there's that little purple box right there that says scheme fit. So with that being said, Dez Bryant fits that scheme big time. With that being said, the Dolphins, I brought Tua in. Now, Tua had number 13. As far as I know, Dolphins fans, Dan Marino's number is 13, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section below, but I'm almost positive his number was 13, and I'm almost positive the Dolphins retired it. So with that being said, I changed Tua's number to 10. With that being said, they got Lamar Miller, and Lamar Miller's already hurt. Jordan Howard is there from them signing him during the offseason. Wide receivers, they're going to need at least a little help. Henry Ruggs is there from Alabama, but again, this could change in real life when Madden 21 comes out. The Eagles, everything is kind of decently the same as I look, and as you guys are looking, Deshaun Jackson's still there, but I mean, the rest of the way, it kind of looks kind of decent. Zach Ertz is still back. The best part about this is Darius Slay signed with the Eagles during the offseason. Instead of taking his own number, he has 2-4. 2-4. We all know who that is. That's basically Kobe Bryant. He's representing Mamba mentality. So he's basically representing Kobe Bryant, not even playing in LA. He's representing him for a different team, which is kind of cool to see. So with that being said, on to the Falcons, and Matt Ryan is still there. At running back, we all know TG30 is now an Atlanta Falcon. He is now back in a red and black and white jersey again, like he was when he was with Georgia. So with that being said, that could be an interesting get up with Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley. As long as Ridley stays healthy, everything should be fine and good to go there. Now, as we move on to my coworker's favorite team, which is the 49ers, nothing has really changed with the 49ers. They kind of been silent during the free agency period. Jimmy Garoppolo is still there. Tevin Coleman is still there. Matt Breida is still there. At wide receiver, the only thing that they really lost was Emmanuel Sanders. So with that being said, Deebo Samuel is still there. Marquise Goodwin is there. Dante Pitts is still there. But, other than that, George Kittle is there. So with that being said, the 49ers still have a pretty sharp team. And I think in real life, the NFC is going to have a hard time competing with them. So with that being said, the Giants. Now, this is laughable again because I know that the Giants are going to rely on Daniel Jones. The Daniel Jones era in New York has begun since last year. So with that being said, I brought Jameis Winston in. Could be an interesting gig to see what Jameis Winston can do in those 3 years that I brought him in for the Giants. But with that being said, the Giants have some decent players. Dion Lewis is a kind of a new addition. But, everything else is still the same for the Giants at this point. On to the Jaguars. Now, the Jaguars have kind of been silent as well, besides that trade with Nick Foles. Nick Foles is now a Chicago Bear. And that one I'm going to get to in a few minutes. But with that being said, Gardner Minshew II is the starter. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jacksonville Jaguar fans. Correct me if I'm wrong anyways, if I have this all screwed up and I'm saying names wrong. Leonard Fournette is still there. But, everything is kind of the same as you look. I could be wrong. I'm not really going to go off. Tyler Eifert's there in Jacksonville. That could help him out in the long run, Jacksonville fans. So you shouldn't be happy with... You should be decently happy with having Tyler Eifert. And I know this for a fact. Tyler Eifert has been injury prone for the past few years. But with a new team and a new address, that could help Tyler Eifert. Tyler Eifert could be the guy that he could have been just a few years ago. With that being said, on to the Jets. The Jets, Sam Darnold, that's their future in New York. Le'Veon